What does it actually do to someone's mind when they've been intimate with 50 different partners? Is it empowerment? Is it emotional detachment? Or does it quietly change the way someone experiences love, connection, and attraction? Because behind the numbers, there's something much deeper happening. Psychologists say that sexual experiences don't just affect the body, they shape the brain, emotions, and expectations in relationships. And when someone has been with dozens of partners, the psychology behind it becomes extremely fascinating. Tonight, we're going to explore what really happens psychologically, how women emotionally process multiple sexual partners, and what many people never talk about openly. Because the truth is far more complex than most people think. Part 1. The brain and sexual bonding. Human intimacy is not just physical. Every time two people become intimate, the brain releases powerful chemicals: dopamine, the reward chemical, oxytocin, the bonding hormone, and serotonin, the emotional regulator. These chemicals are designed to create attachment and connection. But here's where psychology becomes interesting. When intimacy happens repeatedly with many different partners, the brain can begin to separate physical pleasure from emotional attachment. For some women, intimacy becomes less about connection and more about experience, validation, or excitement. Psychologists call this emotional detachment adaptation. It's the brain's way of protecting itself from forming dozens of deep emotional bonds. Part 2. The emotional experience after many partners. Now here's something rarely talked about. After many casual encounters, the emotional experience of intimacy can start to shift. For some women, sex becomes less emotionally intense than it once was. The first few experiences might feel exciting, emotional, even deeply personal. But after many partners, the mind sometimes begins to treat intimacy as something recreational rather than relational. That doesn't mean every woman feels the same way. Some report feeling empowered and confident. Others admit they sometimes feel emotionally empty after encounters, especially when the connection was purely physical. Psychology shows that the meaning someone attaches to the experience matters more than the number itself. Part 3. The validation loop. Another fascinating psychological factor is validation. Attention from multiple partners can create a powerful feedback loop. Compliments, desire, being wanted. All of this activates the brain's reward system, and over time, some individuals begin to associate their self-worth with sexual attention. This is known in psychology as external validation dependency. It doesn't happen to everyone, but when it does, it can make the person subconsciously seek more partners, more attention, and more excitement. Not necessarily because they want love, but because the brain craves the dopamine hit of being desired. Part 4. The comparison effect. Another psychological effect rarely discussed is comparison overload. When someone has had many partners, the brain naturally begins comparing experiences. Who was better? Who was more attractive? Who created more chemistry? While this may seem harmless, psychologists say it can sometimes make long-term relationships harder to maintain, because the brain has dozens of past experiences to measure against. Instead of discovering one person deeply, the mind keeps referencing past encounters. This can create restlessness or dissatisfaction in some relationships. Part 5. The confidence factor. But the psychology is not entirely negative. Many women who have explored their sexuality report feeling more confident in their bodies and desires. They often understand what they like, what they don't tolerate, what they expect from a partner. In some cases, this leads to stronger boundaries and clearer relationship standards. However, confidence and emotional satisfaction are not always the same thing. Someone can appear confident externally while still searching internally for deeper connection. Part 6. What women say they feel afterwards. When researchers interview women about their experiences with multiple partners, the answers vary widely. Some say they feel empowered and free. Others say that after a while, encounters can begin to feel predictable or less meaningful. And a surprising number admit something unexpected. They sometimes miss the feeling of genuine emotional intimacy, the kind that doesn't disappear the next morning. This highlights something important. Humans are wired not just for pleasure, but for connection. Part 7. The truth about numbers. Here's something many psychologists agree on. The number of partners someone has had does not automatically define their character, happiness, or ability to love. What matters more is their emotional awareness, their relationship patterns, and their reasons behind those experiences. Some people explore because they are curious, some because they are searching for connection, and some simply because they enjoy the freedom of modern dating culture. Conclusion. So the psychology of women with many partners isn't as simple as people assume. It's not just about sex, it's about identity, validation, emotional experience, and human connection. Because intimacy is one of the most powerful psychological experiences we have, and how someone navigates it can reveal a lot about what they're truly searching for. Maybe excitement, maybe confidence, or maybe something deeper than they expected. Outro, retention ending. But now I want to ask you something. Do you think someone's past relationships actually affect their ability to form deep connections? Or does it depend entirely on the person? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you're interested in more videos about human psychology, relationships, and hidden behaviors people don't talk about, make sure you subscribe. Because the psychology of attraction is far more complex than it looks. Share your experience in the comments, and if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more psychology-based content. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.